My name is Jessica Martin, and I handle social media and graphic design. And today we're going to talk about how to design basic graphics using Canva. So all of this depends on you already having a logo, already having all of your stuff set up. It's for you to learn either the right terminology so that you can better communicate with graphic designers, or it's for you to learn how to make it yourself. If graphic designers just aren't in your budget, you've never done it, you're not sure how to do it, this is going to be your most affordable option and also the easiest one to learn. So that's what we're going to cover today. We're going to cover 4 main topics. So we're going to go over what graphics have to do with your mushroom business. We're going to talk about getting started in Canva, getting organized, and finally getting published. So let's start with graphics and what they have to do with your mushroom business. What graphics do I need is kind of a loaded question, because you'll need social media strategy before you get to the actual graphic creation. Those are 2 very different pieces. For Pinterest in general, you have 3 main pieces that are found there. You'll have blog posts, so 6 different ways to grow mushrooms on your kitchen counter, 5 ways I made money growing mushrooms, grow mushrooms in your basement. Any blog post that you've written should really be put on Pinterest with a graphic. The second most popular is iconographics. So those pictures with everything put up with the arrows and the this means that and this is, people love those and they're very popular on Pinterest. If you have something that you've built that's like that, or you want to build something maybe that explains the life cycle of mushroom, or even what the positive and negative characteristics are different strains, it's really up to you, but those kind of graphics is the kind of thing that you're definitely going to want on Pinterest. And finally, inspiration pictures. So Pinterest started as like a dream book almost. It is things that you are interested in. So a lot of people just save pictures that they think are beautiful. If you've taken a really nice picture, you went foraging or something, and you took a really good picture of a mushroom, maybe you want to share that on Pinterest as well and link that to your page. But definitely high quality photos, iconographics, and blog posts are what you want on Pinterest. Today we'll cover blog post covers because those are really something that you'll build. We're going to also cover Instagram. So Instagram's 2 main graphic spaces are stories and the feed posts. You also have Instagram TV, but there's less to do in the graphics department on that. The stories are the always vertical, full screen, and they are live for 24 hours unless it's filed a certain way. Like I said, we're not going to go over what all of the different platforms do, but we are going to go over which ones you're going to need to create graphics for and why. So feed posts are the square images, are the first thing that you see when you look up somebody's profile, but is also the thing that needs to stop people from scrolling through their Instagram feed. On YouTube, you'll have the thumbnails for videos. So that first thing that you see, that needs a graphic created for it, or it is most effective if there's a graphic created for it. You'll need a cover photo for your YouTube page, and you'll also need an end screen that will direct people to other videos that you've already created. And this helps boost viewership and bring in extra revenue. Finally, for social media, you have Facebook. You'll have cover images for your page, for any groups that you manage. You'll have your standard feed posts, and you'll also have Facebook stories. So the sizing for a Facebook story and an Instagram story are the same size. They just work a little bit differently. But your cover images are important because they set a tone for your page and any groups that you manage. And feed posts, of course, is what everyone's looking at. There are other graphic elements that you'll need for your business, such as maybe you make white pages on how to grow if you're selling caps, or you're selling substrate, or you're selling anything you want to do value added. People want to see you as a resource, not just for where they can buy, but where they can make sure that they're using that product properly. So offering things like instructions, but instructions on why your product is important on the grand scheme of things. If you're selling mushrooms themselves, then recipe cards or articles on what the different health benefits are of the different mushrooms that you have. Any information that you can give people that they know is reliable when they trust you, they're going to keep coming back to you. You'll be that source of information for them. You also have flyers. Maybe you're offering something special. Maybe you're offering a service and you need to explain what your service is. And then there's also newsletters. So if you don't have a newsletter set up, you do want one. It can be small. It can be once a month if you want it to be, but you definitely want to get started on it, because having contacts that you can send your message to and grow is always going to be important. And in those emails, you're going to have graphics that you need to put up. So you'll have a banner at the top, maybe you'll have an image in the corner, but keeping people engaged in an email is just as important as making them stop scrolling when they're on Facebook. Other print material you might need, maybe it's brochures, maybe it's business cards, maybe it's posters. All of that can be designed in Canva, and all of it is very easy to organize there as well. One thing that I really suggest setting up before you get started in Canva, making sure you have it, is a brand board. So the brand boards like the one I have here are really important for your business. And the reason I say to get this done before you set up Canva is because it becomes really handy knowing what your brand is before you get into Canva, which we'll see later. But brand boards are really important for brand recognition. When you're consistent with your colors, when you have your colors, your fonts, it basically puts everything that your company adheres by and keeps that on that paper. That means when somebody's scrolling through, maybe they won't see your logo, but they'll recognize your color and your font and say, oh, the last time they did this, I liked it. And that might help them stop and actually look at you. It's important for continuity. If your Instagram is matching your Facebook, is matching your newsletter, it makes you look very professional, it makes it very cohesive, and it gives a continuity that makes people more comfortable and makes you easier to trust. Because no matter where they came into your following from, they recognize it. So if they came from Facebook, well, now they follow you on Instagram and they see that you're the same on Instagram, that you're consistent. And then they're going to receive maybe a newsletter, maybe a flyer, maybe an invitation to a workshop, and it'll all have the same font and the same colors. And you have that continuity that helps people feel comfortable and feel familiar. It's also very efficient if you're outsourcing your work. So if you can give someone a piece of paper that says, these are the fonts that we use, these are the colors that we use, this is the heading, this is the body, these are what you can use as accent colors, and this is our style. Everything is very efficient in outsourcing. You're onboarding new team members. All of that becomes easy. And when you're tired and when you're not sure and when you kind of want to switch fonts and you kind of want to sway over, you have it clear and organized. Having a clarity, having a clear tone, having a clear definition to your brand, and never swaying from that, never moving, never switching up. And when I say never, I mean a rebranding is a thing, but it shouldn't be every few months. So really find what you like, and if you don't like it right away, or if you find that you don't like it at one point, take a beat, maybe test out some other ones on the side, but don't do a rebranding until you've really gotten yourself entrenched. So the next thing we'll talk about is getting started. So the most important thing to do before you pick out a font and before you pick out a color is a tone. And that might not be the same way that everyone else has mentioned it, but I believe once you have your tone, everything else falls into place. In this example, you have 3 different Instagram posts. They could all technically be from the same company, but each one has a very different tone. The one on the far left is very playful, it's very funky, it's very fun. You still get all the information that you need, but notice you've got very different colors. It's not straight lines, it's different shapes. Your main font is a rounded font, which tends to look younger, it tends to look more playful, and it's all very simple. The one in the middle is a little bit more modern, it's a bit different. You've got a very bright, a very large, chunky font. And then because it's, I can see this being an urban mushroom farm. It's very modern, clean, fun, simple. It's now offering delivery and pickup, and they have their logo. Nothing more intense than that. The final one is a very clean, modern look. So you've got a lot of empty space. You've got the right shading, and you've got the script text with a block letter on the side, underneath it. So you've got the two different fonts, makes people stop, it divides up the page, but it's still on white, it's very clean, it uses the picture itself as the backdrop, and now offering delivery and contactless pickup, and your phone number, and the logo. So there are different tones, and the images you use will reflect that tone, the fonts that you use will reflect that tone, and all of that comes together to make your brand. Now, a thing to consider is your platform. So your message might look different on all of your different platforms, and the platform that's right for you is not necessarily the one that's right for everyone else. There's one way of doing things that will bring you viral videos and big hits and all that stuff, but not many sales. And then there's finding your audience that will convert into purchases for you and will become adamant followers of what you do. And it's providing genuine content and reflecting what your business is that will absolutely help with that. So not everyone should be on Pinterest. Not everybody should be on Snapchat. Not everyone should be on Instagram or TikTok. It's really, who is your audience? Who are you geared toward? And what is the best way to communicate with them? Now, in this example, the message that we're having is now offering Lion's Mane Grow Kits. Very easy. It's launching a new program. You didn't have Lion's Mane before, but you've had oyster and you've had shiitake, and now you're doing Lion's Mane. The one on the far left is an example of a Facebook post. So your graphics don't have to have all of the information in it. Your graphics have to stop them from scrolling so that they want more info. View anything that you put on your graphics as almost a subject line to an email. So, homegrown Lion's Mane, get your kit today. Doesn't go into price, and it doesn't go into how to grow it, doesn't go into where you can ship to. Nobody wants to know that on Facebook. They want to go, I'll grow my own Lion's Mane. That could be fun. And then they'll click on it, or the copyright, the description of the post will have more information that are more detailed, because by then you've stopped scrolling and you're going to read. Two very different things. That copy and graphics need to work together, but they're two very different things. So this example here is going to show up in somebody's feed. The Homegrown Lion's Mane, get your kit today. We took a modern, clean, still kind of funky, kind of vintage, gives you a good, feels homemade, but feels clean and professional. So that's what we're pulling, that tone, and we're pulling that into all of the different platforms that you can talk about this new product launch with. So we have Facebook, we have an Instagram feed. So this square image would be an Instagram feed post. Grow your own Lion's Mane. That easy. You don't need your phone number. You don't even need your logo if you don't want, as long as your colors are still in the image, because that will get them to stop scrolling. And then maybe they'll read a description. And then maybe you can tell them to go to the link in bio. But you need them to stop scrolling to get to all that anyway. So grabbing their attention with that is really the best way to do it. Next up is a Facebook and Instagram story. So this one, it's a little bit of a longer one because it needs to be the full vertical length of a phone. And you have now offering Lion's Mane Grow Kits. And then you have a little button in the bottom that says link in bio. So you want to get set up with a Linktree link something that you can put everything that you're up to right now. So when they go to your link in bio, you can click on that and you can see, you can put your YouTube page, you can put your Facebook page, you can put your website, you can say Lion's Mane Kits and have that exactly be one of the things that they can click on. But until you have 5,000 followers, you won't be able to click on a story to go somewhere. And finally, on the right-hand side, you have a good example of a Pinterest post. So maybe with all of your Lion's Mane grown kits, you also had a little how to grow them at home, which would be a great way to sell these and a great way to accompany this new product. That's great to post to Pinterest because you want people to want to grow their own Lion's Mane in order to buy one of those kits. So saying, hey, how do you grow Lion's Mane from home? And posting that image on Pinterest will bring people in to your funnel and then push them into your purchase. So there's different tactics and different focuses that you want to take on different platforms, and all of those will require different graphics. So, graphic design rules. Now, I could give you a list of 20 rules. I could give you one rule. I could give you, some people tend to cap out at 10, but personally, there's 3 things to keep in mind with every piece that gets created. Intentional typography, the hierarchy of information, and balance and space. So, intentional typography. This is why having a font for your business on your brand board is really important, because it's really easy to get sidetracked with all of the different types of fonts. Having your header font and your subheader font and your paragraph text font is really important, but sometimes if you're launching something new or you're trying to accent a sale, you might add another font into there. It's really good to mix and match fonts in size, in style. You'll have calligraphy, you'll have modern, you'll have block fonts, you'll have serif, there's a lot of different ones to play with. But as soon as you think about what am I trying to do, what is my tone, once you have all of that set, it becomes a little bit easier to pick the right fonts. The second thing is hierarchy of information. That means important stuff first. If you're selling Lion's Mane, you're selling Lion's Mane kits, well, you want people to grow Lion's Mane, grow Lion's Mane. That's the most important thing. Grow it at home in your kitchen, grow it. Everything after that should be in smaller font and off to the side, but you need to make it very clear what the most important part of your graphic is. Finally, balance and space. So you don't need to take up the whole canvas. You can if that's what your piece is, but sometimes playing with the negative space, playing with the balance of the image makes it a lot easier. Take that final piece, for example. You have it split down the middle in a triangle with a square cut out in the middle, but the words don't take up the whole square. They're balanced off. This is to complement the fact that it's offset already. So that split down the middle with the triangle is already dividing your vision. To have something centered in there would have thrown it all off. But at the same time, in the second image, you've balanced all of the 3 elements: the image, the gradient in the background, and the text in the center, so that there's an even amount of space all the way around the edge. That's also balance. It's making sure that it's not flat and square and everything's even. You're never going to stop anybody from scrolling with that. Put it off to the side, then everything else needs to be negative. Put it in the center, then everything around it needs to have space. It's all about finding that right balance. And that stuff isn't necessarily going to come naturally. That's why I suggest Canva. So Canva, you can input all of the elements of your brand board. You can put everything into folders. You can organize it. You have preset sizes for all of your platforms. You have templates that are already there that you can customize, that you can put your own text into, that make it easier, that have those elements already set up for you if you don't want to play around with making them yourself just yet. You also can share the links. So if you want to create yours and then maybe have a freelancer look over it, if you want to be able to edit what the freelancer does, if you want to give, you can share this link and have others see it and edit if they need to. They've also started post scheduling, which means that once you've done creating your graphic, you can actually have Canva deal with posting it for you. You might already use the Facebook Creator Studio, and that has Facebook and Instagram to it. And you might like to do that. If you want to, no problem. You can download it in any format you want to and post it wherever you want to. But if you want to use Canva as your post scheduler, you can. And finally, they do have a free image database. So Canva itself is free. There is a pro version that if it's in your budget, I highly recommend. It's a great program to have. And as soon as you have the pro, everything becomes easier, everything becomes more accessible, you start being able to create more and more graphics and better graphics. And that's what you want. Getting organized. What we're going to do is we're going to start by opening up and logging into Canva for the first time. So this is what the homepage of Canva looks like. It automatically puts you to a recommended for you section. So this is mine for my business, and it's giving me Facebook ads, Pinterest pins, Instagram posts, posters, logos, LinkedIn banners, blog banners. So the list goes on and on. They are a wealth of information and a great resource. You'll have right under it your designs. So you'll see here all the designs that I created to create this presentation. You can also view that over here. So all your designs get saved into here, where you can go back and access them whenever you like. If someone had shared one with me, this is where I would have those saved. So they aren't mine, I didn't make them, but someone did share them with me either to edit or to do something new with, or to look at. That's where they would show up. Now, the reason why I told you to have your brand board ready is because that's where this goes in here. So you can put all of your logos, any of your logos into this area, and you'll be able to access it once you're doing all of your designs. So for example, I have my Oak Armor logo in there, and then I have my colors that I use for that brand. And it doesn't mean those are the only colors, but I want that blue, I want this green, and all of these have codes. So you have that color code, and that is a universal code. So if I needed somebody else to create something for me, I can say use green 828E282. And then I can know that no matter what, I'm getting my green. I've redacted this customer name, but here is where, and I deleted a couple, but here's where you can add other palettes. So maybe you're launching an event and that event has a specific palette. Maybe you have customers and you want, or you have different projects. Maybe you have a couple companies and you need to create graphics for a couple different companies. You can put all of those into as many palettes as you like. I am showing the pro version of Canva because it really is worth the money, and I really do encourage you to use it because it gives a lot more usability. My brand uses these three fonts. So I have my headings, my subheadings, and my body. And having that plugged in there, you will see later, makes all of your designs very easy to do. You also have a content planner. So you can add, either create a new design or choose a design and share it to your connected Facebook and Instagram posts, and you can schedule ahead of time. So let's say I wanted a design that I created to go out on the 18th. I can go in here, choose the design that's already been created, and have it set up so that it sends out or posts at that scheduled time. So that's a new feature that Canva put on recently that really kind of ties all of their products together. Now, if you had other people that you needed to collaborate with and you really wanted to create your whole team, so maybe you have a coworker, maybe you have a co-owner, maybe you have a newly added graphic design person, this is where you can add everyone into that same team, and it makes it very easy to communicate and work with them. Finally, you have all of your folders. So you have all your designs, you can have your uploads, the things that you've liked, your logos, things that you've purchased, and then you can have all of your organization. And this is where I really think getting organized is going to be most important. Having all of your imports into, or your projects into labeled folders, it will help reduce the chaos. All right, so let's start with the create a design button. You have a searchable space, but essentially this is going to give you an infinite amount of options for you to use, which is amazing. You've class schedules, you have media kits, you've got letters, you've got lesson plans, you've got anything you might need. Essentially what they do is they're giving you the right size. So you can create all of these sizes with whatever you like, but they just have it pre-measured. So a Facebook ad, for example, is 1200 by 628 px. px stands for pixels. So most graphic designers are going to work with these pixels. And instead of centimeters or meters, or it's just, if it's a virtual piece, it is most likely going to be described in pixels. And this is just kind of a universal language. But you see here, if it's a printable piece, if it's something that's going to be a physical printed, you have here it's 18 by 24 inches, where the Instagram post, the Pinterest pin, and the Facebook ad were all measured in pixels. LinkedIn banner, pixels. Blog banner, pixels. All of that animated. You've got all of these options. You don't have to go with a preset. So I know a Facebook ad, let's say, is 1200 by 628. You can do custom dimensions. So maybe, for example, a typical email is going to be 650 pixels wide. So when you're doing a newsletter, when you're doing an email blast, it's usually about 650 pixels. So let's say I want to do 650 pixels by 150 pixels because I'm creating a banner for the header of my newsletter. Click create new design, and it's ready and waiting for you. Now, this is why I suggest Canva so fervently. If you don't want to start from scratch, you do not like what a blank canvas means to you because you're freaking out, you're not a creative type, and I'm just here to grow mushrooms and it's fine. What we're going to do. We are going to use a template. You pick one that works with your tone. I'm going to take everything's already set up for you. You can just replace it with things that are actually pertinent to you. For example, we're going to go into the photos section, which is really cool. They've got templates, which are the first thing. Upload, so these are pictures that you've added. Photos, and this is an image bank. A lot of them are only on the pro version. So I definitely, again, would recommend it. But there's always image banks such as Unsplash, Pixabay, a lot of free image databases that are really helpful as well. But we're going to go into photos, and we're going to get a picture of a mushroom. You've got all kinds of options, but let's say we're going to announce that we're going to be at a new farmer's market or a farmer's market this weekend. So we're selling our mushrooms at the farmer's market on Saturday. So you'll notice that this image is a little bit different than the one that we selected. That's because it has an effect. So you can, with the Pro, you can remove the background of an image, but you've got all these different effects that you can play around with that you want. Maybe you want it to look like a screen. You can connect that one if you like. There's a lot of different ones you can do, but this one, for example, has filter on it. Take it back from it being a color and not a color. So we've changed the background to the picture, so now it's something that's actually relevant. And we want to stay with our brand board, and we want to change the text. So you've got a lot of options to change the text. You have recently used fonts down here, which is super helpful. And then you've got your brand fonts. So it's going to keep those aside for you. So let's say we want our Anchorage Bold font. All of a sudden, it looks more like us. Perfect. We're on the right track. Let's say we want to say now at, I will pick a market near me. We're going to do now at Churro Market. Doesn't fit anymore. No worries. You're just going to change the font size. Now, if I were to drag this corner, it would keep it in this current state that it's in. It will just make it smaller. I want it all on one line. So we're going to stretch it. Now, you'll notice these purple lines that are showing up as I move things around. These are trying to help you make sure you stay in a right visual space and that you're aligned. So, see how I move it here? It's letting you know that you're centered with these pieces. We know that because it's a dotted line. The dotted line doesn't mean that you're centered on the whole piece. It says that you're centered on the things around it. The solid line, like that one, tells you that you're very center of the canvas as a whole. Now, so the newsletter banner is now we're at Churro Market. I'm in Nova Scotia, so it might not be easy for you to pronounce, but it's Churro. Anyway, so here you can see we've got that balance. We decided that we're taking that center space of the canvas and we're making that where we put everything so that it's solid, it's in the space, and then everything else on the above and below will stay how it is. But let's say, for example, we wanted to add, we're now at Churro Market every Saturday and Sunday. No problem. We will go down here. We've got a couple more tabs to work with, and we're going to look at elements in a minute, but we're going to start with text. So here, I'm ready to go. It's my heading, my subheading, and my body text space. If you felt like you wanted somebody else to design what you're going to put on here, you've got all kinds of combinations that you can take and you can make it your own. These are just already put into place so that you can see the difference. For example, you've got a good combination of a larger font and a cleaner font underneath. It's a little bit more retro, it's a little bit brighter. Whatever you're looking to convey is ready for you. For today, I just want to add my subheading. Every Saturday and Sunday. Hooray. Take that and pull it down. And now we know we're centered. But we want this to be a little bit smaller. We can resize it by doing this, or we could go up here and pick the different size font that we want. So we're centered, we've got our banner. Now, let's say I'm done. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to change any colors. I'm done. This is the simplest, straightforward. I picked a template. I made it work for me. I'm done. You can go up here and download. So the download section has a couple different options. It's going to suggest a PNG. A PNG is always a higher quality image, but it is also a larger image. So it's going to take up more space. Depending on what you're doing, it might not be what you want. But when you can, use PNG. You could have also saved it as a PDF. You can save it for SVG. You can do a video if you want to. You can make a GIF on here. You've got a lot of different options, but because we're doing a straightforward newsletter banner that we're now at Churro Market, we're going to do a PNG. Now, you can put a transparent background if you'd like to. This is really helpful for logos and for things where you did it on a white canvas, but you don't actually want that white background. That's where you click this and it would remove the background for you. You can also compress the file. This makes it a lower quality, but it also makes the size smaller. And then you click download. And your design, very exciting. Here's where naming conventions and being organized, very important. My image is now saved as Now at Churro Market. That's fine if I'm only going to do one newsletter banner and I'm never going to need to find the old newsletter banner that I did. You don't want to do that. You want to make sure that you're organized so that your files are in the right place and that your files can be found again afterwards. So we're going to change the name up here to Newsletter Banners. You can leave it at Newsletter Banners. You can do Newsletter Banners November. You can do Newsletter Banners 2020. You can decide whatever your frequency is, it's up to you, because it's not just going to be this one image. It can be, but next week when I have to create next month when I have to create next month's newsletter, instead of creating a whole new file, I can just add a page. This lets me restart, gives me a new chance to try something new. Maybe we are, let's see, maybe this and some more mushrooms there. We're going, right. So because the picture is much bigger than the canvas itself, it's going to take a section for you. You want a different section, you double click on it, and you can move it up and down. What's here is your guide. So you want to make sure that you're only occupying part of this. And I'm sure you can go listen to Laurie's talk. She's a great photographer, and will most likely explain that rule of thirds. So you want the main subject to be taking up one section of your grid. This one is a little bit different. It's kind of crossing over, but that one piece is where you want it. Now that we have picked the right spot, we're going to change this up, and maybe we're going to say guided walks. Maybe this month you're offering some guided walks on how to identify some mushrooms. So we'll pull this out. Let's say you're doing guided walks. So we're going to make a nice little space for your guided walks. And you're going to say mushroom identification and appreciation, because we all appreciate a good mushroom. Now, I'm going to go back. I'm going to make sure that this is in with my brand board. Box. Go. Make it a little smaller. Appreciation and appreciation. And I'm going to center this. Get rid of that. So now this one's different than the other one. I don't want to download both of them each time. You can select only the page that you'd wish to download. PNG. Download that. Pick on your design. And now it's under newsletter instead of Now at Churro Market, which is less fun. So let's go back to our homepage and let's create something new. Let's say that you want to create a Instagram story. So we're going to search it using story or any keyword you want. If you want to just keyword Facebook, you can keyword Facebook. And it gives you all the different pieces that they want to do for you. Let's say we're going to do an Instagram story. Right? So it's already coming up in the right size. It's already coming up in the right size. They're already giving you some templates that you might want. And this gives you great content in terms as well. So you have a quiz, you have a ask me anything, this or that. You can do bingo cards on here. And these are all very popular things that are on Instagram right now. You can also do, let's say, right, so sometimes they build you kits. So these kits can be very helpful. They help you so that you have a continuity, but it's still different. So if that's something that you're not very good at, then you have it already preset in there and you can just play off of the kit that they built. Some of them will have video content, which is also wonderful. So let's say this one has 2 pages. So this would be 2 posts. I'm going to apply both pages. And they have these videos in the background. So let's say instead of this video, you want to add, go down to videos, 2.5 million videos to choose from. We're going to type mushroom. So what is this one? So we've got some mushrooms cooking on a grill. We've got most likely someone cooking with some mushrooms. Right, so maybe you've got a new recipe that you want to share. So we're going to resize it to fit into this space. And we're going to say new mushroom recipe. And we're going to stay within brand. This. I'm going to do this. And I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. So new mushroom recipe. Now, back here, we don't want both of it to be a video. Balance. You don't want everything moving. You want one piece moving. The other piece is still. So we are going to go back to photos. And actually, we are going to get rid of it. All you have to do is press delete. Now, you have here the option for your background color. This is where it all comes in. You can pull in photo colors, so it'll read the picture that you've already put, and it'll try and pull some colors out of that. Or you can follow your own brand. So we want to make sure it's our green. New mushroom recipe. Now is where you get to pull in elements. So maybe your link is in the bio. Maybe it's you want to add some flair to it. This is where we go to elements. Elements has got a lot of different stuff that you can use. You've got lines, you've got different shapes, you've got frames to put your pictures in, you've got stickers that are moving, charts, you can build grids in here. You've got everything you need. Let's say we want to add a sticker, because this is going into an Instagram story. It's going to be moving. You want it to have a little bit of an effect. You've got all of these going, and usually they have seasonal ones as well. You've got options. What we're going to do is maybe fireworks. So we've got a lot of cool different fireworks to pick from. A lot of the time, you'll also have moving pieces. And those are very exciting to add as well. Let's see if we can find one of those. So we've got stickers. These. So see how many different options you can have. It can be overwhelming. I suggest searching a lot. I suggest being kind to yourself. For example, I've got a piece here, and if you play, rid of this one. Here's what we're going to do. Link in bio. So you've got static pictures, so you've got icons that you can put if you'd like to. But you're also going to have some moving pieces. So all of a sudden, you've got your new mushroom recipe, and there's a link in bio. And you have a lot of different ones to choose from. Maybe you want to put a button instead. link in bio. There you go. So you have different ways that you can do anything you'd like to do. In this case, you're going to download an MP4 video because it's no longer a static piece. And we're going to name this. This is the Instagram or the stories. And then you'll be able to share that with your followers, share that with the people that are with you, but making sure that you're keeping your voice and making it as easy as possible to communicate with everybody. What we'll do next is we will go back to what we've already created, and we're going to take pieces that I created for this presentation. So we're going to start with this. This is Homegrown Lion's Mane. This is a Facebook. So we have that one, but we're also going to put one about our Christmas sale. So we're going to get rid of the background, press delete. You've got all of your options that you can add. So we're going to do a black background to make it really dark. We're going to go to text. And we are going to pick something really, really bright. So we're going to pick this one. Sale, sale, sale. I can keep this out of color because you want something that's bright. You want something that's different, that'll catch their attention, all of that stuff. But you still want to make it your own. So let's say I'm going to go back to elements. Got a lot of different stuff to pick from. We're just going to type in mushroom. See what shows up. Perfect. So we are going to take a couple pictures of mushrooms. And this guy. If this goes with your tone, with your brand, with all of that, then that's great. And stick with that. But there's a lot of different ways to tell people things are on sale. Maybe we're going to want to put a photo of some tie-dye. Make this a background. That's a little bit odd. Perfect. This is going to be our background. So we are going to have a psychedelic sale. We are going to take a pre-made one, just in case, as an example of something that maybe you don't have already. Maybe you're not great at figuring the text out, anything like that. That's okay. We're going to pick huge sale. And we're going to try and balance it out. So right now there's a lot of color happening, which is pretty much tie-dye. We're going to make it black so that there's a little bit of a negative space to it. We're going to keep huge sale. Center that. And we're going to go get a little mushroom guy. All right, so maybe your huge sale is that it's 60% off. Maybe it's that it's only on grow kits. Maybe it's on t-shirts, on posters, on whatever you want. But you want to keep their attention. You don't want them to spend all of their time waiting for something to pop up. So, for example, we're going to put huge sale. And maybe we'll put a little subheading, all grow kits are 50% off until for 2 more days. Now, we can do this a couple different ways. We can have it sitting underneath. We can have it sitting up top, but you want to make sure everything that you're putting on here is clear. It doesn't need to be the main piece. Remember, hierarchy of information is that there's a huge sale. That's really all that matters right now. What you might do is make that your main focus with its big content. And then maybe we'll add a call out. So I think this guy wants us to know all grow kits, 50% off for 2 more days. And obviously, you want a little bit of a clearer explanation when you're doing sales, but this at least will make them stop, make them look, and what's the sale? All grow kits for 2 more days. Say till November X, till December 1st, till whatever you'd like it to be. This gives them a, why is there tie-dye in the background? It gives them, obviously, huge sale. And then once they've stopped, they see the second piece in their hierarchy of information. So this could be your tone. Maybe it's not. Maybe your tone follows a template a little bit more. Maybe your tone, something like this. Your photos are cleaner, are more toned down. Maybe you want to use this picture for your background again. And all grow kits, 50% off. Sale is over on Tuesday. So there's a lot of different ways to do things, but the point is that Canva is a very good way to do it. It's very forgiving. It's very good to keep organized, and you've got access to so many different pieces. So it's showing you, it does a lot of that heavy lifting for you that you typically would have had to hire either a social media marketer, a graphic designer to be able to do. If you don't want to spend your whole life trying to market on social media, then sitting down, creating a large batch of posts and scheduling them is always going to be the easiest way to go. So you have down here, you can integrate a lot of different apps. You can integrate a lot of different pieces, a lot of different things that will help you create. Maybe you'll have an image database, things like that. But what we'll do is we'll go home and we'll go to the content planner. So the content planner allows you to pick what day you'd like something to post and what day and where you'd like it to post. So for example, we're going to choose, because we've already created our sale ad, we're going to choose a design. And it'll be a Facebook post. And we don't want all of these. We want just page 3. So we're only taking this page. And yes, this is where you're going to put your copy. So you've got their attention with the image and the graphic, and now you want to put the actual, maybe the more important details in there. So yes, you read that right. All our grow kits are 50% off for until Tuesday. Get your Christmas shopping done early. Give them the gift of fungi. And then add your link to your page, add the link to what you want to do to get shopping. And then this is where you pick where you're going to schedule it to. So are you scheduling it to your Facebook page? Are you going to a group? What are you doing with that? So I don't connect my Facebook to this because this was for training and examples, but that's where it would let you schedule that post on Facebook. You pick the day and time. So you want it to post tomorrow on Friday at 11 p.m., 1 a.m., whatever works, whatever your viewership is. Those are what you'll do. One of the things that you absolutely need to keep track of, you need to look into, data is everything. If you know your audience, you know when they're looking at your posts, you know when they're engaging with you, then you can become more and more strategic, you can become more and more prepared, and you can schedule things months at a time. Set aside 5 hours once a month, create all your graphics for the month, create everything that you need, sit down, schedule them in, and you're done. And then you don't have to worry about it, and you don't have to spend your life doing it. It's a lot easier, a lot more relaxing. And then at the maybe mid-month, maybe at the end of the month, you check your stats. Are people interacting? When are they interacting? How are they interacting? And you tweak. And it'll take a while. And sometimes you might need to bring in extra help to help, grow all this with you. But at least now you have the tools and you know how to use Canva to be able to do it the easiest way. That's it for the basics from me. If you have any other questions, if you need any help, you can feel free to reach out to me. All of my information's included. In the meantime, enjoy the summit, learn everything you can. I hope nothing but the best for your mushroom business. I hope it grows and grows and grows. And I look forward to hearing any questions you may have on all of that. So thanks so much for listening. That's all for me. Remember the 5 things to keep in mind when you're posting your content, when you're trying to find the right content to set out. Number 1 is be genuine. There's a lot of fake stuff and a lot of people that are doing things for the wrong reasons. If you're being honest about your business with your people you're making contact with, it will grow naturally that way. Second, content for the sake of content is absolutely worthless. It will get scrolled by. They will feel that it doesn't really matter. It translates. Make sure what you're posting is something that is genuine, like we said, but that is helpful. It can be helpful by being inspiring. It can be helpful by being encouraging. It doesn't need to be information every time, but make sure that you're not posting because it's Tuesday and I said I was going to post. Your post won't do well anyway, and there's really not a point to do it. Make sure you know why you're posting what you're posting. The next is be consistent. That comes from brand, that comes from tone, that comes from stance, it comes from culture, it comes from all of it. But make sure that you're being a consistent presence, because somebody that follows you for one type of content, mushrooms, isn't going to care that you're out for a walk downtown. It's not to be rude, it's not to be anything else, but if your page is about mushrooms, then make it be about mushrooms. If it's about your life and your life is mushrooms, post away. What did you have for lunch? But make sure that the people that are with you are getting what they're expecting to get, or else you're just going to lose more followers. 4 is take it easy. Take a deep breath. There really is no magic wand. We can spew facts at you. We can tell you what we learned in school. We can give you all of the cookie cutter rule book things. But the truth is that everyone's audience is different. Everyone's audience has a different way of reacting to things, and the people that you grow and cultivate should be people that you want to have around and that you can have healthy debates with and that you can have healthy interactions with, and supportive community and that space that you're trying to create. It doesn't need to be a situation all the time. It's okay. Just be, if you're being genuine and you're not creating content for the sake of creating content, you can take it easy. Just do better today than you did yesterday. Do more today than you did yesterday. Keep growing. And that's what's going to be most important in life, in business, in all of it. That is what I encourage you to do. The final piece that I will say a trillion times over is data is golden. Track your responses, track your rates, and it might not make sense to you, but you can bring someone on to just look at your results and tell you what you should be doing and move forward. That's what consultants are there for. They don't need to be there at every step of the way, but try something out for 3 months and then have somebody look at it and go, okay, what am I doing right? What am I doing wrong? And they'll say this, 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 and this. Thank you very much for your time. Make your adjustments and move forward. But if you're not collecting data and you're not looking at the data, then you're never going to improve. Things like Facebook and Instagram, all these platforms are great for insights. Everyone's tracking. They're tracking where they are, what time they're looking, how positive is it, how negative is it, how is it compared to last week, what are you expecting for next week? You've got a lot of options and it can be overwhelming, but don't get overwhelmed. Just know that there is value in that information and not to disregard it. If you guys have any questions for me, if there's anything that I can do to help, you can send me an email. My information is going to be included. There's also going to be a couple different resources below. Something if you want to get started on a healthy social sharing template for your scheduling, that'll be below. And all of the different sizes of graphics for all the different pieces that you might use will be there as well. They are in Canva, but having a reference sheet is always helpful. I wish you all the best. Enjoy the rest of the summit and keep growing.